He, M30, cheated and is acting like F41, is the bad guy. I am so tired and don't know what I am looking for. Maybe motivation to move forward. Maybe advice on cleansing my life of him. I don't know honestly. I found evidence of cheating and confronted him. He came up with a slew of reasons why it's my fault. I know it's not my fault, but man, it just won't stop running through my head. I can't sleep. I have working in the morning and somehow I have to get through this when all I want is for him to be gone and to sleep. TL, doctor, now ex cheated and is blaming me. Exhausted and hurting. As a guy, I can tell you it's 100% his fault, and the fact that he's trying to blame you shows that he doesn't care about you or how you feel. You gonna let this cowardly turd burger live in your head rent free? You gonna give him all this power to ruin your mood and your day? Or are you gonna straighten your fucking crown, and stand tall, and pity the contemptuous goblin for thinking he could ever pass for a prince? To hell with him, sister. You've better things to do with your life. Thank you all. I'm still hurting and I am still angry, but knowing that he is now out of my life 90% of the way is liberating and helpful. What he said hurt, but it wasn't true, and that's what I choose to keep remembering. I did nothing wrong, not a single thing. I was always available. I would have done anything for him. He sabotaged himself. End of story. Thank you for helping me find that strength. He's clearly toxic and gaslighting you. If the cheating wasn't enough for you to kick him to the curb, then his unapologetic and toxic response to getting caught should be, "Oh, I kicked him out." He will be getting the rest of his shit today while I'm at work. It sounds like you're seeking permission to leave. I hereby grant that to you. Leave, friend. Thank you. I kicked him out last night as it is my place. I guess I just needed some validation, which everyone is giving me, and I appreciate it. LDR Girlfriend, 24/F, of 3.5 years broke up with me, 24/M, and got together with new guy, 24/M, 9 days later. How did she move on so quickly, and what can I do to move on? Do bear with me, this will be a rather long post with lots of nuance missing. It's not easy to write down every detail of a 3.5-year relationship, but I'll try to give as much context as possible. 3.5 years ago, I, then 21M, met a girl, then 21F, through Reddit. I'll be omitting some details for privacy reasons, but I'm from a Southeast Asian country while she's from a Western country not too far from here. We got along really well and had so much in common. We bonded over music, had similar values in life, and it just seemed too good to be true. One key thing we were strongly aligned about was that we both didn't want children. This will be important later. I liked her, and a few months of chatting later, she told me she liked me, and I confessed my feelings too. We were young and just happy to be in love, I suppose, so we got together and started an LDR without much plans for the future. This was the first relationship for both of us, and we were just enjoying each other's company and being with someone we genuinely loved with all our heart. 2.5 years ago. The first breakup. In the first year we were together, we made plans to close the distance, but I was a young man who didn't know too much about the world. At that point in time, I really couldn't see a way that we could be together, and I broke up with her. I know this will be weird to read, but we actually agreed for me to fly over to her little town to see her before breaking up. I guess we just wanted to confirm for sure that what we had was real, even though we knew, at that point in time, that we could not be together. Around a year into the relationship, I flew over and met her for the first time. It was a wonderful time and we made many happy memories. She was everything I wanted in a girlfriend, and I was everything she wanted too. We were, of course, devastated when I had to leave, fully knowing that we were going to break up afterwards. I'm not exactly sure if this helps, but it was a significant event in our relationship together. The regret. So after I came back home, we were still in contact for a month or so more before I decided to break up with her. It lasted about a month of me crying before I realized what a complete idiot I was being. After wallowing in sadness for that month and wondering what if, I sheepishly messaged her saying that I was sorry and I was being stupid, I still wanted her. And I count my lucky stars every day that she took me back. I told myself that I would never make that mistake again and told myself that I'd do whatever it took to make sure I saw this through. I was determined to close the distance. She did take me back with a condition though, that we work out a plan to be together. After some discussion, we came to the agreement that it would be best if she could come over to live with me in my country and start out life here. I was really happy with the arrangement. She had some jitters but we always discussed it and resolved them, or so I thought at that time. It was a really happy time for the two of us. Things were looking up and we were glad to have one another again. She's a total saint and I still think that I've been so lucky to experience a love like hers. 4 weeks ago. And so we continued for 2 years like this, meeting up for 2 more very blissful holidays while she waited for me to complete my college degree before closing the distance. We were supposed to close the distance last year, but unfortunately COVID pushed out those plans. We were disappointed and it was hard for both of us, but we loved one another and we'd see this through. Until 4 weeks ago. It was late December 2020 when she texted me that she had something important to tell me. I called her over Skype and she told me she wanted to break up. She was tired of it all. Apparently, she realized that her entire life, friends and family were in her little town and she didn't want to leave. I was devastated to say the least. I told her that I needed some time to think about this and we went no contact for 2 days. In those 2 days, I consulted friends and thought about a serious plan to move over to be with her. I wasn't going to make the same mistake of giving up a good relationship. I had promised myself that 2 years prior. I realized it would be a rather difficult move as her town is rather small and jobs in my industry didn't really exist, on top of the difference in life there. It dawned on me that even if I wanted to make the move, this still required a strong commitment on her part as well. I needed to know she wanted to continue as well. At night, I called her and told her that I was thinking whether we could make it work if I moved over. I told her that I needed to know she still wanted to commit to this. She told me she was tired of the LDR and she couldn't do it. And she said that in the past few weeks, she also realized that she might not be as child-free as she thought. She said that she had a moment a week prior where she was playing with a child and a motherly instinct came over her. I was surprised to say the least, given how she was always adamantly child-free before. I was really sad but I understood and I let her go. We had an amiable breakup. She said she still loved me and I still love her to this day too. All in all, it was a good 3.5 years and I gave it my all, so there was no regrets there. She's been wonderful to me and I wished her well. A very sad goodbye, but one I knew I had to bear. For the past 3 weeks, I've been trying not to think about her and move on with life. For the most part, it had its ups and downs and I was trying my best to move on. Until 2 days ago. 2 days ago, a friend found out she's in a new relationship with a guy, 24/M, she recently met. At minimum, they became official 9 days after we broke up. Worst of all, I knew who this guy was too. He was a guy who she met at work a month before we broke up, a guy who was interested in her. This was a single dad who had 2 very cute children that she loved to play with, same child that made her question her child-free status. Reddit, I know the way I'm putting it makes it sound like she cheated on me or something. This is not my intention. In fact, the whole time she was very transparent with their friendship, even going as far as showing me their texts. She turned him down and just wanted to be friends. As far as I know, he's a perfectly nice guy and they did become decent friends. I was never worried about this. I trusted her with my entire being. She had never lied to me before and she's always had my best interests in heart. I always believed her and I still do. I want to believe that in those 10 days, something happened that made her like the guy and want to be together. My mind drifts and wanders sometimes, but I suppose this was the easier situation to imagine and accept. The question. After all the rambling, I guess my question is, How is it that she could move on so quickly? While I was here for the better part of the month trying to get over her, she was probably happy with this new guy already. When she broke up with me, in a moment of weakness, I even asked her if this was about said guy. I remember clearly her telling me that I was being silly and why would I break up with you for an unemployed, single dad? Like I said, I trusted her completely and I accepted her answer. Did something change in those 9 days? Did she already have feelings for him prior? At the end of the day, I'm choosing to believe the optimistic scenario that doesn't involve emotional cheating. I still love her deeply, but at the same time I feel like this action seemed so unlike her, like she became a person I didn't recognize anymore. We were each other's first everything and I honestly thought she was going to be the one. I was preparing to marry this girl, you know. Seeing the photo of her hugging him broke me. However, I will say that while I feel defeated and at some level, feel played out like a chump, I am trying to move on and be better. I know she's moved on, so I won't be reaching out and will be trying staying occupied until this cloud passes, but there's just this lingering sense of sadness and confusion that I'm not quite sure will pass. I don't hate her, I can't let this one incident ruin the 3.5 years of happiness that we shared. All things considered, I still love her and hope she's happy, but last night I woke up at 3:30 AM and just couldn't sleep. This has just been plaguing my thoughts. If you read this far, I'd appreciate if you could offer me some perspective on how she was able to move on so quickly, and also, if anyone has tips on how to best move on from here. Too long didn't read. LDR Girlfriend, 24/F, broke up with me, 24/M, after 3.5-year relationship, gets with new guy, 24/M, less than 2 weeks later. I've been the girlfriend in this situation. While not identical, I had a LDR boyfriend I was fairly serious about, for being in college. I met a new guy friend. He was obviously interested in me. I wasn't at first. I even made fun of him to my then boyfriend at the time. And then something happened, I still couldn't tell you what, and my feelings changed. It surprised me. Once I had feelings for someone else, I realized that it wouldn't be fair to my boyfriend to figure that out while we lived far apart. So I broke up with him. There were plenty of problems in that relationship. It didn't just end because of the new guy, but I knew I couldn't stay in a relationship when my heart was no longer 100% in it. I went on a date with the new guy 2 weeks after the breakup. My ex was furious and couldn't believe I could move on so quickly. But he didn't realize that the new guy may have made me act faster, but the relationship would have been ending regardless. I'm sorry you're going through a tough breakup. I think it's best to stop following her on social media and go no contact. Not because she is evil, but it will help you move on faster. The person who does the breaking up must process it beforehand. She has to have the thought, then think about how much the relationship means to her, and then make a decision. That all happens long before the breakup itself and is why so many relationships end messily. Not that they always do, but that gray area is pretty common. By the time she tells you, it's been rattling around in her noggin for a long time. There's no set time to get over something and move on to the next relationship. LDRs are really rough. I hope you move on to a fulfilling and happy local relationship. It's going to take time for you to catch up to where she's at. Just be kind to yourself. You're not silly for thinking she's the one. There's lots of ones, and if they're not close by / able to move, they aren't a good option. Good luck to you. Short answer, she was over the relationship before you knew it. How is it that she could move on so quickly? What do you mean quickly? This relationship of yours has just been waiting for that moment when you could finally close the distance and have an actual relationship. She put that condition on your relationship a whole year ago, and it got put off indefinitely. She finally realized that she could also just date someone local to her and not have all this heartache. The doubts in her mind started years ago, and she's been through a whole slow process of realizing that this wasn't what she she wanted. She didn't move on quickly, she just started earlier than you did. There's just this lingering sense of sadness and confusion that I'm not quite sure will pass. Yeah, it will. This is normal for a breakup. You will need some time away from her to process everything and reorient yourself. I hope you deleted her off your social media. You'll find your way to a different future. And you will look back on this as the time you were a naive youngster who thought love could conquer absolutely every obstacle, when in reality, sometimes things just don't work out and it's nobody's fault. I, 23F, am starting to realize I don't have any true friends. Basically the title. I've been reflecting a lot on my life over the past year, and I've come to realize all those that I considered good friends have actually been extremely unbalanced friendships that I constantly give and support, but there is nothing reciprocated. One I considered my best friend actually doesn't stand up for me, and even puts me down every chance she gets, not only behind my back but also right in front of me. However, any moment of upset in her life, she calls me crying for support and advice. I always felt like I am the person people run to when they need a shoulder to cry on, and I've always been supportive and loving and caring. I've stood up for them when I felt called to, and I've always cheered them on in all of their pursuits. Am I picking shitty people to be friends with? Is it unfair to ask for a healthy and balanced friendship? How do you go about making new friends that have meaningful connections with people who actually care about you? TLDR, I feel unfulfilled in my friendships but unsure if my expectations are too high.